Hi everyone, it's your buddy, it's your pal, I'm Karnak. This is Star Wars Armada Explained. I'm excited to talk about B2 Rocket Troopers today. This is definitely like one of the most interesting cards that come out of Clone Wars. I mean, they're all interesting, right? They all do something crazy or unique or different. I really like B2 Rocket Troopers because it's such a reliable way to leverage a vastly underused mechanic in Armada, and that's raid. So I'm really happy to see this card kind of have some interesting mechanics with raid, and then also how it combines with oh, what's this bucket? TF-1726 or whatever his name is, the robot commander that uses raid dice for adding dice. But that's getting a little off track. Let's dive into the card. So B2 Rocket Troopers, you'll see in the name, there's no dot or bullet point, signifies it's not unique, meaning that you could equip this card to each ship in your fleets as long as you have, an upgrade card to be able to equip to each of them. It does only equip two of the, as you see in the bottom left-hand corner, the offensive retrofit. Opposite corner, you'll see its point cost, and it is faction locked to the Separatists. It is 7 points, so it is an expensive upgrade card. The top right hand corner, next to its name, you'll see kind of like a double arrow. It signifies that this is a recur item, means it's if you exhaust it, it's able to unexhaust with no cost during the status phase. All right, let's dive into the card. So there's two parts of this card. The first part, while performing a non-salvo attack against a ship at close medium range, you may exhaust this card. If you do, the defender gains one raid token of your choice. And then the second part of this card is, while attacking a squadron, you may exhaust this card. If you do, add one die of a color already in your attack pool to your attack pool. So what's great about this card, before I dive into like rules interactions, is that it has two parts, and it's useful against ships, or if you are fighting squadrons, it's useful against squadrons. It's not some upgrade cards where it's like, oh, it's great against this, but then like if I face like an all squadron fleet, it doesn't help me. So I like the kind of the flexibility of this card, and I feel that that's fair due to the fact of how expensive it is. So ultimately, some great effects. So the bottom, we'll start with the while attacking squadron effect, just because that's super simple and easy and doesn't require much explanation. So while attacking a squadron, if you exhaust the card, you can add a die already in your pool to your pool. It works exactly like concentrate fire in that regard. Now again, this only works against one squadron, so if you are attacking all squadrons within an arc, you can still only use it against one, and by exhausting it, you can't use the other effect. Once it's exhausted, unless they start getting ways to be able to unexhaust cards, which I don't see that happening personally, but who knows? We could be surprised by something like that. So, you kind of do have to pick and choose about what's useful. But if you're only attacking squadrons and you're not going to be attacking any ships, that's great to be able to throw a little extra oomph into an attack. Maybe you already rolled like a good attack against the scatter ace. You got the accuracy, you kind of want more damage. Maybe you rolled all damage and you're trying to fish for a blue accuracy or something. There's uses for it. But pretty much, while attacking a squadron, again, exhaust the card. You roll your, I'll run through all the steps. So attacking a squadron, you declare the target. Let's say there's no obstruction. You pick up your initial attack pool. You roll your initial attack pool. Now you're in the resolve effect step where you can add dice. Now you pick up the die from, that you want to add in. You exhaust B2 Rocket Troopers, chuck that die in there, and now it's in the pool, and now you can modify it with some additional effects if you want. B2s doesn't have to be the first effect you resolve, but typically it's usually a good idea to put in as much die as you need to then be able to modify with like reroll effects and things like that. Okay. Can you use this card against proximity mines? Yes, because proximity mines are treated as if you're attacking a squadron because you're rolling anti-squadron dice against proximity mines. So you can use it against prox mines. Am I missing anything else from that section? I don't think that I have. No, pretty straightforward. All right, the first part of this card. So while performing a non-salvo attack, so any attack that's not a salvo attack, and it needs to be against a ship at close to medium range, or while performing an attack at close medium range. There's a difference there. Now there's a fact on that, and I'll make sure to review it. So while performing essentially a attack that is not a salvo attack, if it's against a ship at close medium range, you may exhaust this card. Once you do that, if you do, the defender gains 1 raid token of your choice. This is an extremely good effect, because before the only way you really could like reliably get raid on ships was you had to throw squadrons at them. They had to throw the right die. I mean, some commanders, their whole ability revolves around putting raid tokens on things, but just like it was really hard to like want to bring commanders that give raid tokens, because just like your opponent can be like, okay, I don't care. If you're smart, you're bringing ways of tokens to clear all that stuff. But what's great about B2 Rocket Troopers is that, yes, you could chuck on tokens of theirs that they need, but in the case of like if you're using TF72 or 76 or whatever he's called, you want to give them raid tokens that they don't need, because they're less inclined to remove the raid token, in which case then you can use that commander's ability to throw raid dice on there, and then they have to make hard choices of, do I want to get rid of these raid tokens or not? But even if you're not bringing that commander, this card is still useful, because, okay, maybe they're trying to resolve a squadron command every round, or engineering command. So even if you, by throwing a token on there, is it potentially going to stop them from doing this command? Maybe, you don't know, but it could mess up some plans they have. Maybe they have to use that repair token to clear the raid token, the raid repair, so they can actually use the repair dial. Maybe it's forcing them to spend resources that they otherwise don't want to use. Because this is once you get in that close medium range, you can just tap that every round, especially if you've got multiples, and then you start just making really hard choices for your opponent. But I got off track. This is one of the things about this card, that you just start thinking of all these different ways you can use it. But pretty much, again, as long as the attack is at close and medium range, you can exhaust this card, and the defender gains a token of, again, the choice that you select. You can't choose a raid token already on that ship. It has to be something different. And if a ship has all raid tokens and there essentially is no choice, it's just like command tokens. You would choose a raid token, you pick it up, try to apply it, find that you couldn't, and then it just gets chucked. Some people had a lot of questions when this card first came out about, like, well, when do I get to resolve it? And it's like, I can resolve it whenever I want. I can be across the table, declare target on your ship that I'm not even in range, and exhaust this card. Even though it says perform an attack at close medium range, some people are trying to argue that you could exhaust this card and use its effect from anywhere, or from arcs that from ships that didn't have any dice, that they could then, if there was no attack happening, they could exhaust it, and it was getting to all these crazy little rabbit holes. So, being that I was the rules form monitor, I am the rules form moderator for Atomic Mass Games. Definitely during my initial collection of information, we identified that, this could be somewhat of an issue. Let's just go ahead and try to resolve this. So the first thing that we have is the question is, when you exhaust the B2 Rocket Troopers to assign a raid token to a ship that is being attacked. So when can you use this effect? It is during the resolve attacks effect step of an attack, is what we've determined, because it doesn't clearly specify that it can be used outside of that step, and by and large the standard is you need to be in the resolve attack effect step, as the name states, right? If you want to resolve an attack effect, this is a while attacking effect, it needs to be in that step to resolve this effect. Like, to us it was pretty clear cut, and a lot of people were like, well, it doesn't say that, it needs errata, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but like, this is what makes sense. We don't feel like we need to rewrite the card to specifically state it works in this step, because by and large, unless the card specifically states that it doesn't work outside of a step, it doesn't need to clearly state that it only works in that step. It needs to clearly state if it's making any other changes that changes the rule book. That's what it was decided on in internal discussions. So I don't think that that's anything crazy. That's just when we were sitting down talking about rules, that was our logic about it. So And of course, it all just depends on the nature of the cards and things too. But to us, that's what made sense. Second question for B2 rocket troopers: does the attack itself have to be at close medium range in order to use the effect, or does the enemy in range of, or just need to be in range of the enemy ship of close to medium, even if the attack itself is at long? When we first initially answered this question, we were like, "Oh yeah, it's this," and then we realized, "Oh no, we wrote that wrong," so we had to rewrite it, just because like with everything in Armada, words matter and how you write those words. So yes, B2 rocket troopers may only be resolved if the attack itself is at close to medium range. A ship can't be at medium range, but the attack is at long range and you can use it. That's not how it works. Again, the attack itself is close medium range only. All right, that was a lot of talking. Of course, if you got any questions about how this card works or not certain, please be sure, if you need some clarification, leave it here. Or if it is like a specific rules question about the card, be sure to go to the Atomic Mass Rules forum and make a post there. Make sure we can resolve that for you. Otherwise, that's B2s. I really think it's a fantastic card. I know some people think it's a little strong, but for what you're paying for, and again, it is only once per round, I feel that things are fine. It seems like, based on everything that we have been looking at, it seems like this card's been doing fine. I hope you guys have fun with it. I just really love that card art. It's just like she's just drilling a hole into that chip. So, of course, if you have anything else, throw me a shout out. I hope to see you guys around, and hey, I'll catch you next time.